every single one of your 100 trillion cells in the body can be damaged by ionizing radiation in any amount. Now the question is, what do we do? Well, there are many things we can do. First, do not start using, as some people are suggesting over the internet, the clays. I have seen so many people suggest, we'll use the zeolite clay because it'll remove radioactive strontium, cesium, and 137, and therefore reduce radioactivity of liquid waste discharged into different places. Not the case. There was a Swedish study that did show that zeolite, Z-E-O-L-I-T-E, had the capacity, when used properly, to allow some decontamination when used. This was near Chernobyl. But most people are going to be using the edible clays. Now, edible clays you've heard advertised like bentonite and red clay and Moroccan clay and fuller's earth and French green clay. And there are many of those. And generally people use those at some cleansing spa or over a one-weekend fast. And what they're not aware of is, even though, yes, it does help with detoxification because it will absorb heavy metals, and that helps lessen some of the metals, at least those metals that are in the intestine, which is actually a small fraction. And by the way, there are hundreds of different types of bentonite clay alone. You better be careful because did you know that some of these bentonite clays are 75% aluminum? You heard me right, 75% aluminum. So you don't want to be trying to cleanse the body of potential radiation exposure and end up with massive amounts of heavy metal toxicity. And so you don't want to do that. And so then what could we do if we don't want to be ending up contaminating ourselves in such a way? Remember, because bentonite will bind and take out a great number of the harmful heavy metals, but it could at the same time end up giving you aluminum in the process. So I would suggest the most important things you could do is a chlorophyll. And in the chlorophyll mixtures, the two most important superstars for helping to impact the body by lessening the impact of radiation from any source and to detoxify the body and to protect the body is to flood it with high ORAC antioxidants and to use chlorella and spirulina. There's actually good science showing what they do. But all of the chlorophylls and all of the superoxide dismutase and all of the glutamine and glutathione and catalase are all beneficial. Where do you get those? You get them when you take your green juices or vegetables or compounding powders, which are your best. Chlorophyll is similar in structure to hemoglobin. And what you need to do is use oxygen therapies. Oxygen therapy, like hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which introduces hyperoxygenation, is very beneficial. I would also use ozone. I would also understand that what's really happening in the body, you're creating free radicals, and therefore if you have an exposure and you're aware of the exposure and you can measure the exposure, then you want intravenous vitamin C with intravenous glutathione. Protect the liver, and the vitamin C will help scavenge the hydroxyl free radicals better than anything else as far as a nutrient. But not to be outdone is the R fraction of alpha lipoic acid. Baking soda is also very good. Now, you all, I'm sure everyone in this audience is familiar with sodium bicarbonate, BAS. For example, if you've had radiation exposure from any source, background radiation from nuclear drift, or maybe an X-ray, then you can simply take a half-hour soak in baking soda BAS, and that will draw radiation from your body. Also, I would use, and again, that's sodium bicarbonate, and plus mineral salts. And I would use a half a pound of salt and a half a pound of baking soda in a bathtub. Then cysteine hydrochloride. It's an amino acid. Cysteine is very good at protecting your body against radiation and stopping free radicals that are produced by the ionizing radiation. And I would use methionine, cysteine, alpha lipoic acid, taurine, Taurine. They are all important. These are your sulfurated amino acids. They have that strange kind of bad smell to them, but boy, do they do a good job in addition to the sulfurated amino acids. I would always use those in a buffered form, like take them with a protein shake. And then there's radioprotective herbs: burdock root, mint, curcumin, turmeric, boswellia, periwinkle, basil, celery root, dandelion, and milk thistle. Always important. Then there are specific non-destructive drug therapies, the ACE inhibitors for the kidneys, lungs, and growth factors, and also chelation and isotope competing agents like EDTA and DTPA, iodide, alginates. So all of your sea vegetables, having 1 or 2 servings a day of sea vegetables, wakame, kombu, hajiki, nori, dulse, all important. That will help protect your thyroid and bone marrow. Vitamin E, vitamin D, and will help treat fibrosis. And your antiemetics to target the GI tract. I would also suggest anything that is anti-carcinogenic, high fiber, especially fiber from apple pectin and blueberry. Then you want to alkalize your body to remove uranium and other radioisotopes. And buffered vitamin C, magnesium, zinc are good for that. But once again, the superstar is spirulina. It reduces the radioactive isotopes and therefore helps prevent the cancers. Aloe vera, 2 ounces taken 4 times a day. Ginkgo biloba protects the body from chromosomal damages from radiation. Sarsaparilla root will protect against radioactivity. Green tea, 1,000 milligrams a day unless someone's been impacted. Then the catechins, gallate and epigallo, all of which are important in protecting the cells. Polyphenols from dark chocolate, and alpha-lipoic acid is very important at 1,000 milligrams protecting the body. And then the carotenoids. I would also use Celmarian because it has very good effects at radioprotection. And then your juicing, and I would juice throughout the day if I were exposed. And then, of course, the citrus flavonol, protecting against the chromosomes being damaged by any form of radiation, is naringin, Naringin, and also the aminothalls, and those are also important. And that would round up my list of the most important ways of protecting your body from radiation exposure. And add that to part 1, and you've got a very good program. Now, that doesn't mean you go out and start taking all these things. It means that when and if the radiation reaches your community and you can see that it is there, then you'll want to, in a reasonable and responsible way, begin to implement a protective program by bringing these nutrients on an ad-need basis into the system. You don't do it all at once. You do it gradually so that you don't overwhelm your system. You bring in a few each week, and you just keep adding to them so your body is tolerant of it and not overwhelmed. I'm Gary Null.